Well, here we are, not even 2 weeks into the new year, and it seems that all hell is breaking loose in the gaming industry. It seems to feel like it was the beginning of last generation, where the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were two different worlds apart when it came to the brand awareness. And it feels like that right now, except for the roles have been completely reversed. We have Xbox over here making big, powerful moves with purchasing Activision Blizzard. They now own the entire idea of the gaming subscription service with Xbox Game Pass. And they have also decided to implement some strategies from past mistakes to really cement themselves into a much more strategically financial position than their competitor, PlayStation. The brand who, going into 2024, is canceling games and also having very serious hardware directional issues when it comes to their proverbials that they're putting out. I mean, it is an absolute nightmare for those that thought things would stay the same through all the entirety of the beautiful gaming environment, this whole sacred world that they thought PlayStation would always be in control of, but they never thought for 1 second that times can change and that people can be dethroned. And yes, you can chip away at the foundations of a very strong brand very slowly and very methodically, and Xbox has done just that. So yes, I stand by completely what I meant in opening this thing up. Xbox has done some amazing things for gaming since the birth of the Xbox One. The whole world completely lost its damn mind for no reason at all at the concept of an always online console, but it seems that's the complete status quo today. They also thought it was weird that there was a device hooked up to it that you could talk to and it could record video and all this other stuff. You didn't want to be spied on in your living room and other places, but now we all have living room cameras to watch our pets, and we also can order Tide Pods at any time we want with our Amazon devices that listen to us consistently. But no, Xbox was completely ahead of the curve at that time, so everybody lost their mind. Just kind of like what they're all losing their mind about now. Xbox over the past few years has made some questionable decisions which have made them have to really rethink their strategy, especially when Phil Spencer took over the brand and he really had some big decisions to make, and we saw them have to cancel a few games and also really right the ship from hitting the iceberg, as we can say, when it came to the direction of the Xbox brand, and he really wanted to hit the mark right, and we obviously know the rest is history. He created the Xbox One X and also a thing called Game Pass. Now, Game Pass over the years has been considered the Netflix of gaming, but that could be slightly true if it wasn't for the fact that Netflix has a very unsustainable model, which requires a lot of money to create and also to try to feed the monster, and sometimes you create a model that is financially unable to sustain itself in a very long term without really changing the strategy. Now, Xbox did just that with Game Pass. Now, Game Pass is one of those services that have really kind of got the entire industry in a tiffle because everybody wants to say that it's unsustainable, but let's look at it. You actually have microtransactions in games. Games are still able to be purchased. But one thing that Xbox has also done is they're not hyperbolically focused on creating these walled off sacred gardens like other brands, PlayStation. And that's where, if we look at what's going on right now currently with PlayStation has made some very bad long-term decisions. They tried to craft this idea of the sacred garden of PlayStation. Everything we make here is special. The only place to play is on the console. The only place to do this is on the console. And we all see that has been a very long-term deficit of trying to create money, because we've seen some of the PlayStation financials. As good as the PlayStation console sells, it doesn't have a very large adoption rate for its software like we see on Nintendo. Now, Xbox also has this same problem, but that's where they decided to diversify the portfolio a little bit and put their games on other platforms like PC, something that PlayStation has slowly started wanting to adopt, but it's been very, let's just say it's not been easy going to get them into the idea of wanting to do it on a more regular basis. Even though there's a lot of people that are clamoring to purchase the software on PC, they really want to somehow try to shoehorn them into purchasing a PlayStation. But now we see them kind of starting to shift the course a little bit, because we just found out that potentially the new Horizon MMO that they were trying to create over at PlayStation is potentially going to only appear on the PC and mobile, which means that they're going to skip the PlayStation console altogether. Now there's some speculation on why that is. Is it because they don't know what PlayStation is going to be on? Or is it just because they don't really foresee themselves being a strong player in the console market, especially with how Xbox is now putting their stuff on other platforms like Samsung televisions? So this is like a sign that they all have to kind of branch out and start to kind of do what Microsoft has been doing, and that's supporting the PC market. But the whole hardware thing is also a little bit of a point of contention for the PlayStation brand, in my opinion, because PlayStation has been trying to push things like VR, which has been totally half-assedly done. At this point, we're seeing a lot of studio closures when it comes to VR. I really do see the VR becoming the next PS Vita, where it was really great technology, but they just let it fall to the wayside. Same with their half-ass attempt to the PlayStation Portal, which is not really a true handheld. It's a remote play device. And that really comes into what I'm saying with Xbox's strategy. Xbox has really found a way to make a lot of money for the Xbox brand without having to have all this asinine stuff that PlayStation does. PlayStation has shown recently that there has been a huge issue with ballooning budgets for these AAA, over-the-shoulder, third-person, cinematic, narratively driven experiences that PlayStation is knowingly famous for. And that's where PlayStation has really started finding issues in. It takes a lot of copies sold to try to recover some of that revenue. And so they've decided to hike the price on games. They've tried doing remasters of games and charging even more for even less when it comes to these games. They've hiked the price on their hardware. They have done everything they could to try to create more revenue, except for the one thing they really need to do, and that is what Xbox does. Xbox puts games day and date in Game Pass. PlayStation needs to do this. I'm pretty sure there's going to be those sacred guys out there that really agree with PlayStation that they don't need to, but it's absolutely bull crap. On top of that, PlayStation needs to be more embracing to other platforms like PC. They need to create better sources of revenue rather than nickel and diming their customers to death. And that brings me to the statement that I'm coming with here, is Xbox is deciding to potentially wanting to put some of their software, their past software, like a lot of the older stuff, maybe Xbox 360 stuff, and maybe some smaller Xbox One stuff on the Nintendo Switch. There's even some rumors that we might see Hi-Fi Rush on there. That being said, I don't see a big problem with that. Xbox has created a very large monster in Game Pass. They put over $9,000 worth of software in Game Pass in 2023 alone, and so they have to be able to fuel that investment with something else. They, like all those games that go in there, they have to pay for them. Now, they can either take a page from PlayStation's book and start turning every one of us Xbox players, consumers, what have you, into walking ATMs like PlayStation has done to their consumer base, but Xbox has chosen not to do that. They have chosen to tackle other sources of revenue, and that's putting their software on other platforms other than PC. We are now starting to see it pop up on the Nintendo Switch. And that's where we see them embracing PC, we see them embracing Nintendo, because let's face it, a lot of Xbox's software is already on these the the handhelds that are out there right now, like the Steam Deck and the Ally, but they're not on the number one handheld on the market, and that's the Nintendo Switch. And that's where I see them kind of branching out once again. They have console with the Xbox. They have PC with PC, and now they're wanting to potentially get the whole hardware market of the handheld cornered with their software by embracing the Nintendo Switch, which we've seen partnerships between Nintendo before with like Banjo-Kazooie. And that's where I don't really see Xbox viewing Nintendo as competition. They see PlayStation as competition, but I don't know how much longer they're going to view PlayStation as competition, especially with the fact that PlayStation can't seem to get their house in order. We're seeing a lot of wasted money in proverbials like the VR and the Portal. We're also seeing a lot of wasted money in these attempts in service games. Like, I understand PlayStation needs to do a service game because, I mean, Xbox has a number of service games under their belt. They also are able to, Xbox has a very well put together, diversified portfolio of games. There is something for everyone on the Xbox brand, including there is a lot of pro consumer value there because you can play a lot of stuff right now for like less than $20 a month. But over on the PlayStation side, it just seems like these narrative-driven experiences are only getting the brand so far. And now, PlayStation needs to take a page out of Xbox's book because Xbox at this current time is poised to really rock 2024. They have an amazing lineup of games that are going to come out from a number of Xbox studios. They have the Activision Blizzard deal, which is going to really have bearing some good fruit in 2024 with content to Game Pass and also unshackling those developers that have been stuck making stuff for the Call of Duty game mill. Like, we're already hearing rumors that potentially Spyro the Dragon might come back and other great IP. So there is a lot to behold and a lot to be excited for the Xbox brand coming up in 2024. I shit you not. But we are going to see a lot of people upset that not only does PlayStation not have anything right now that is really extremely worthwhile, but if for some reason they seem to be on the internet saying that Xbox is going to go full third party, and now all of a sudden they want all these Xbox games on PlayStation because they realize they're not going to have anything on PlayStation. So again, this is some really interesting times that we're in, but it shows that Microsoft has stayed the course. The strategies that they chose to adopt back in 2017 are already starting to bear fruit and show that basically slow and steady wins the race, and that basically trying to muscle your way through the gaming industry and acting like a total a-hole can only get you so far. So now here we are in 2024, getting ready to have an absolutely amazing year of watching the Xbox brand continue to grow and the PlayStation brand to have to figure out their new footing and how they are going to compete in the new established market. So guys, for those of you that really enjoyed today's video and listened to my banter and really are looking forward to what Xbox is going to push out for 2024, please keep it locked in right here. Like, subscribe, comment down below. I'm really looking forward to the comments on this one because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some fun zingers down there for those that are really not fond of Xbox really gaining some ground here in 2024. For those that really did enjoy today's video, please check out the end card on this video, watch my last video, explore my past content on my playlists. And as always, everybody, please thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you that take the time out of your day to watch my content and comment down below. I love interacting with you guys. So please, until next time, just play what you want, where you want. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.